Hello, guys. Do you keep using that anti-hair loss shampoo even after you read a scientific research that states that the product is ineffective? Do you keep associating that celebrity with a crime even if there's a clarification from the justice system that he or she doesn't have to do anything with it? Why do we keep believing in information and stories even if they have clearly been debunked? Today, in Deciding How to Decide, we will talk about the continued influence effect. And what exactly is it? The continued influence effect is a tendency for misinformation to continue influencing people's thinking, even after the misinformation has been corrected or debunked. So, watch out for false information. It is not easy to erase it from your mind. Now, let's take a time machine to New York 2003, the United Nations. Before the invasion of Iraq, the Bush administration stressed the importance of removing Saddam Hussein from power because he might have a stockpile of weapons of mass destruction. The US invaded Iraq and toppled Saddam Hussein. The weapons of mass destruction were never found. However, public opinion polls in 2009 showed that approximately 20% of Americans still believe that Iraq possessed weapons of mass destruction. And why does the continued influence effect happen? How do we update information? When we receive a correction on previous information, we don't simply erase the old information. The old information and its correction coexist in our brains. If the new information contradicts existing beliefs, it can create discomfort. To decrease discomfort, we may choose to ignore it. This is called cognitive dissonance. Is the correction source credible? If it's deemed unreliable, the correction might not be sufficient to override the misinformation. Is the misinformation too familiar? If yes, it can be sticky and hard to correct. And why it's important. In an era of information overload, it is important to distinguish between good and bad information and between updated and old information. Today, information gets outdated fast. So we must update our memories accordingly to make sound decisions. Let's see another example. In 1998, the scientific journal Lancet published a fraudulent study that linked vaccines with autism. The study was debunked and its author, Andrew Wakefield, was discredited. Governmental, scientific, and media sources undertook efforts to counteract the effects of this kind of studies. However, belief in the misinformation remains. The damage has not been repaired. A 2020 study revealed that as many as 33 million Americans believe that vaccines are not safe. And what can we do about it? How we can mitigate the influence of debunked information? First, target misinformation. Remind people that specific information is wrong and that it has been debunked. Second, fill in the blanks with correct and updated information and alternative explanations. Third, foster critical thinking skills. Be skeptical of information that you see on social media or hear from friends and family. Ponder the source of any information before you believe it. Analyze multiple sources of information. Finally, be willing to change your mind if you are presented with sound evidence. Now, a disclaimer. Remember, this video is not the last word regarding the continued influence effect. Its goal is to ignite your interest in this topic so you can do your own research. Send us your feedback so we can continue with this conversation. Time to go. See you next time. Thank you.